Hi everybody, welcome to our Monday TNT, start of a brand new week, and thank you for asking. My hand is much better. Thank you very much to modern science and antibiotics. Hardly any swelling at all. Probably hurt for another week, but we'll move on. Now, let's start, speaking of medical ailments, with, well, nothing better than a good old flesh-eating virus. And Bangkok Post reporting the headline, "No cases of flesh-eating bug from Japan." Thank heavens there's no photo. And the Department of Disease Control on Saturday confirmed that no cases of necrotizing fasciitis, a rare bacterial infection that spreads quickly in the body and can cause death, have been detected in Thailand this year, adding it's closely monitoring the situation in Japan. And now it sort of gets interesting. The DDC said that while Japan is investigating the exact cause, some believe that its easing of COVID-19 prevention measures could be among the factors. Of all the symptoms you got when you had COVID-19, flesh eating I can't recall being one of them. And COVID-19 prevention measures also work perfectly in protecting against this bacterial infection. According to the DDC, there are more than 200 types of bacteria that can cause necrotizing fasciitis, with Group A Streptococcus, Group A strep, being the most common cause of the disease. And the Tokyo Metropolitan Government last week reported that the number of cases of the infection had exceeded more than half of last year's count, 88 in the capital, along with 517 infections nationwide. Just had a friend returning from Japan last week. I think we better put him in quarantine for a few months. Morning to you. And Thai PBS World reporting yellow line must replace all bolts on finger plates for safety. We reported last week another part of the yellow line train falling onto the traffic below. So the government's jumped in pretty quickly on this one, and the Rail Transport Department is ordering the Eastern Bangkok monorail to replace all the bolts used to tighten finger plates along the entire length of the yellow line track, after it was discovered that some bolts were missing between the Rama 9 and Si Udum stations. Due to joint expansion, they fell onto the walkway below. And the Yellow Line concessionaire was also ordered to speed up the recovery of a train which is blocking a track so the full service can resume. So they stopped a train after this was discovered, got the passengers to get off and walk along the rail, and that train's still there. It says that the removal could take 2 to 3 months. A bit further down there, a partial service resumed on Friday after a one-day suspension, but passengers travelling from Lat Plau or from Samrong will have to transfer by shuttle bus to trains at Hua Mak station in one direction and at Sai Lam station in the other. So these trains are for us to travel on, not for bits to fall off. We move to some more response about the possibility of casinos, and this really seems to be ramping up. And this from the Kausod English Facebook page. And the Deputy PM Anitin Charvidakun on Sunday voiced support for the Prime Minister's idea of allowing legal casinos to be set up in order to earn more revenue for the government and boost the economy. And Anitin said that without such entertainment complexes, money from Thai gamblers will flow abroad as well. Anitin, who's also the Interior Minister, said Thailand's neighbours are benefiting a lot from legal casinos and Thailand should not be left out. Well, interesting comments given the variety of reactions that are coming from this new casino report that's going to be tabled soon. A lot of people saying, well, okay, let's have some casinos. I think an area out behind Jomtien is being perhaps earmarked as a possible place for one of those new casinos. I think there'll only be one in the initial days, but maybe more will follow. But a lot of people saying, well, I don't think the Thais should go to them. They'll only be for international gamblers. I'm just not sure how that's going to work. Anyway, we move on to our next story now. And speaking of gambling, the PattayaNews.com reporting Thai government cracks down on online gambling, over 25,000 websites blocked. That's a lot of people getting into online gambling. I suppose if the demand's there, so the websites pop up. And yesterday, the Deputy Government spokeswoman stated to the public regarding a government policy to tackle online gambling websites as major economic crimes. And further down, the cybercrimes caused widespread damage, including identity theft, youth access and damages to both the Thai economy and society. Yeah, these gambling websites are designed to make a profit and take your money, not give it to you. And from October the 1st last year to March the 5th this year, the DES, it says, could suspend, I think it means suspended, inappropriate information on online platforms of more than 60,000 units and block more than 25,500 online gambling-related websites. And those who hosted gambling rings were subjected to imprisonment of 1 to 10 years and a fine of 20 to 200,000 baht. And the players who invited others onto the gambling activities were also subjected to imprisonment. The Thai government stated its concerns to Thai citizens not to be tempted by making profits from online gambling websites or exaggerated advertisements for investment. It's not investment, you're just giving your money away. But it looks like Thailand's going through what a lot of other countries have gone through, trying to decide whether to introduce legalized gambling or not. My tip is I think we'll probably see at least one casino announced before the end of this year. And thanks for dropping in on our Monday TNT. Hopefully we can bring you up to date with some of the main stories happening around Thailand. Please support our sponsor, 5 Star Marine, and you can contact them at 5starmarinephuket.com. They've got a host of different private, bespoke trips out onto Phang Bay, and this time of the year it's just magnificent out there, and you'll see some beaches and beauty such that you've never seen before. So invite you to drop into 5starmarinephuket.com and maybe make a booking. Now, last week we had the story about the Thai woman who had fled to a temple and then taken into care after fleeing what she said was an abusive marriage with her Austrian husband. And this was reported from Bang Lamung. Well, the Thai reporters, of course, just shuffled their way down to the Austrian man's house to get his side of the story. Here we go. PattayaMail.com reporting alleged abusers horned ongoing Austrian-Thai domestic battle. And reporters visited the 79-year-old Helmut Zager at his residence to hear his side. And Zager confirmed his prior relationship with Ms. Neng and disclosed that they'd separated on December the 20th last year. And apparently the agreement was a cash settlement of some 300,000 baht and the transfer of a Kawasaki big bike motorcycle valued at 500,000 baht to Ms. Neng. And Zager explained that he'd resided in Thailand for over 15 years and lived with Ms. Neng for only 2.5 years, contradicting her claim of a 5-year relationship. And he attributed the breakup to his declining health, citing severe high blood pressure and a stroke suffered in November last year. And despite pleading for medical assistance, Ms. Neng allegedly refused to call for an ambulance, leading him to seek help elsewhere. And regarding the broken arm, Zager denied any involvement, attributing it to an accident while Ms. Neng was cleaning their house. And down the bottom there, he stressed that there was no physical altercation during this encounter. So the Thai courts will sort that one out, but at least that's another side to that particular story. Now, whilst we're up in Pattaya, last week again we reported on that sewage. Well, I thought it was sewage. The officials just called it black water, flowing into the Jomtien beach. We've got a response also on that one. And we go to, again, PattayaMail.com. Jomtien beach sewage spill. Cleanup averts environmental crisis. So it appears to be acknowledged as a sewage spill. And in response to a video posted on social media last week depicting sewage discharged into the sea at Soi 8 Jomtien Beach, authorities took immediate action to address the environmental concerns, and by March 28th the seawater in the affected area had returned to its usual state. And collaborative efforts were initiated with the Jomtien Sub-District Municipality, with backhoes dispatched to cover the sewage outfall area. So just let it back up and seep into the sand. And Mayor Poromet emphasised that the Pattaya city sewage treatment plant at a nearby temple in Jomtien has the capacity to treat up to 42,000 cubic metres of sewage daily, despite currently processing only 20,000 cubic metres. And this surplus capacity allows for the accommodation of sewage from Jomtien sub-district, totalling 3,000 cubic metres per day, as outlined in the Memorandum of Understanding. And despite the incident not directly affecting the Pattaya city area, the mayor stressed the urgency of addressing sewage pollution's detrimental effects on tourism. And collaborative efforts between authorities aim to swiftly restore the region's tourism image and ensure the ongoing appeal of Pattaya's pristine beaches and coastal environment. Look, I'm sorry, when I think of Pattaya, I just don't think about pristine beaches and coastal environment. In fact, I wouldn't go swimming off the coast of Pattaya if you paid me. But it does look like they have cleaned up that area. I think the only solution, really, if you live down in the Jomtien area, is, you'll just have to do your number twos elsewhere. So let's move to Thai PBS World now, and more people drafted in as search for missing 2-year-old expands. And about 100 officials and volunteers have been mobilised, supporting 2 police sniffer dogs, GPS tracking and blood trace detection devices in the expanding search for a 2-year-old Lahu tribe boy who's been missing for nearly 10 days from his home in the main city district of Chiang Mai. And the search effort focused on and around the hilltop houses of the boy's parents, as well as the spot where he was last seen. And the chief of the Centre for Missing People of the Mirror Foundation said that the areas which were searched yesterday had been searched before, but this time was more thorough. And he said police have not ruled out the possibility that the boy might have been abducted, become a victim of domestic violence, is the subject in a conflict over his guardianship, or has had an accident. Down the bottom there, the search today, this is yesterday, may shift to places through which the boy could have been smuggled out of the village in an abduction scenario, as well as a large cave close to the village. Now to that ongoing dispute between, it appears to be a dispute between the chief of the Thai police and one of his well-known poster boy deputies, Surachat Hakpan. And, this has sort of come as a bit of a surprise. And Nation Thailand reports Citra claims he has evidence proving Money Mule shifted funds to Torsak's wife, Torsak being the chief of police in Thailand. A celebrity lawyer has declared on Saturday that he will file a police complaint against the National Police Chief and his wife for their alleged role in money laundering. And the lawyer added he had enough evidence to prove that the Royal Thai Police Chief, Police General Torsak, and his spouse had dealings with 2 alleged money mules whom he identified as Kachachan and Natapong. He alleged that the police chief's wife had obtained several millions of baht from 38 mule bank accounts between 2019 and 2023, adding that these accounts differed from those he had told the police to investigate. And Torsak's been transferred to the Prime Minister's office, along with his most senior Deputy Police General Surachat Hakpan, amidst growing conflicts within the police force following an exchange of bribe-taking allegations. So a hugely high-profile case this, and it looks like lawyers at 20 paces at the moment. I think this is going to drag on for quite a while. It already does nothing to enhance the image of Thailand's police. We go to Calsot English now on their Facebook page. This story from Phuket. Police raided a karaoke bar in Phuket last night, this would have been Saturday night, after an officer disguised himself as a customer to buy sex from an underage girl for 3,000 baht plus 400 baht for the middleman. And they found 2 girls, 13 and 14, lured into prostitution. And Sapawan Masosid, who's 39, admits to selling underage girls for sex. Looks like there might be some counterfeiting going on there as well in that particular case. And so often when we report this, we get people in the comments section actually defending the situation, saying, no, there's no underage sex in these sort of red light areas in Phuket and Bangkok and Pattaya. And every time we report them, we seem to get these strange responses. But I believe, as I've said before, that I'm sure it's only the tip of the iceberg. To some other big news from the weekend, we go to nationthailand.com. House panel to probe Chinese-owned factory after 7 workers killed. And a Chinese-run steel factory in Rayong province, where 7 workers were killed in a crane collapse on Friday, would be investigated, according to the House Committee on Industries, announced yesterday. And at 4 p.m, all this happened on Friday, a crane inside the compound of the factory collapsed while the workers were removing its base. 1 Chinese worker and 6 Myanmar workers were killed in the accident. And while Rescue Foundation officials were trying to move the bodies to a hospital, some 400 workers protested against the employer, demanding compensation of 5 million baht for the families of each slain worker. And the protest continued until 11:30 p.m, when the employer agreed to pay a compensation of 1.6 million baht to each victim's family. And in total, the House panel was investigating 5 or 6 Chinese firms, and the panel would propose that the government revoke the investment visa for the firms found to have violated the law. An awful industrial disaster there, and hope that those families get every baht that they deserve. Now, just checking the iqair.com today, and I'm sad to report Chiang Mai again listed as the worst polluted city in the world again. Let's go to the actual map and we zoom into northern Thailand there. We can see some of those purple monitoring stations. That means that the air is regarded as hazardous, and I've underlined Chiang Rai up the top and Chiang Mai a bit further down. Certainly areas where if you're a tourist or if you're living there, you probably don't want to be hanging around, and we've probably got another month of this very poor air quality, which will make it probably 3.5, nearly 4 months of very bad air quality once again this year. Then it'll all go quiet for the rest of the year, I can promise. So that's the way we see the news on this Monday. It's the 1st of April. No April Fools on my program. Might be interesting to report any April Fool's jokes, including, as some people pointed out, that story about the robot, the AI news reporters on The Nation that was starting on April the 1st. It'd be interesting to see if that is an April Fool's joke or not. Otherwise, please subscribe to the channel, support our sponsor, 5starmarinephuket.com. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.